Hi, fellow crocheters. It's Janet with CrochetPatternsForBeginners.com. Thank you so much for stopping by today. All right, I'm so excited to talk to you guys about my latest adventure in patterns, and we're going to be doing a lot of Graphgans this year, and I'm super excited to share this with you. But what I wanted to do is just give you a short little video here on what to expect when you purchase one of my Graphgan patterns. I'm going to go over the elements of each pattern that are included in every single one, and just a little bit about what to expect when you're doing one of my Graphgan patterns. Okay, below you're going to find a link to a free pattern. It's going to include all the elements that I'm going to talk to you about today, and that way you can give me a test drive and see if this is something that you'd really like to learn. If you already know how to do Graphgans, welcome. I hope that you'll enjoy some of my designs because there's going to be a lot of them this year in 2020. Really focused on that. Okay, I want to talk about the three elements that are included with every single Graphgan pattern on CrochetPatternsForBeginners.com and Barb's Daughter Designs on and in my Etsy store. The first element of the pattern is a Graphgan tutorial. Now, this tutorial will go along with the video that will also be added in this category of Graphgans, and I'll have a link below to that too. I'm starting out with this one first so that everyone understands what to expect. On the first page of this tutorial, you're going to find it's personalized to the pattern that you purchased. So it's going to tell you how many pages are included in the graph, and we'll get to that in a second. The next page are the techniques that are required to do a Graphgan, or my Graphgan. I want to make something really clear about my Graphgans. I'm not going to do a bunch of Graphgans with different colors. In other words, fear not, you're not going to be rolling out a bunch of balls with 7 different colors. No. My Graphgans are 2 patterns, and if there's a third color added, it's added as either A, a border, or B, an applique, or both. So not to worry, we're not going to do that. We're going to be using 2 colors, carrying the yarn, not some complicated color change method or anything like that. Okay, then just the pages that follow in the tutorial that come with every pattern will explain step by step how to work with 2 colors and how to change colors and how to do that flawlessly so your stitches look amazing and so that people can actually read or see the photo that you're working on. Okay, and then there's also a list of just general tips to follow, so that's that. So this is the first thing that is included with every single pattern. I want to encourage you, read this first because it might seem like a general guide, and it is, but the first page is always customized to the pattern that you purchased. The next element that's included in your Graphgan that I designed is a graph. Okay, now this is a very simple graph. Again, this is just a 7 by or an 8 by 7 tile. Okay, so the graph fits on 1 page. Sometimes the projects are bigger and you'll be required, if you want to crochet with the graph, to cut it out and lay it out to make your graph so that you can read it row by row, stitch by stitch. But that's all on the first page of the general tutorial, the read first tutorial. The third element of the pattern is the written pattern itself. And this includes a row by row. So a lot of Graphgan patterns, guys, unfortunately, they just include a graph. And so you're kind of like, here's your graph, you're on your own. Not mine, okay? Janet B doesn't roll that way. We want to hook, and we want to hook good. And we want to make sure that we're successful with our patterns. So what this includes is a row by row instruction pattern, just like you would get if you were buying any other pattern. So the first page is just a general introduction. The next page is just like my patterns. They include the materials that are needed, links to the materials if there's some kind of special material, or even if you just want to know what yarn I use. Hey, well, I really like that yarn. What yarn? I've got links to all that. I am an Amazon affiliate, so If you purchase this, I do get a little affiliate. I have to tell you that up front, a little affiliate commission. Okay, then it's going to give you the size of the finished piece, and then it's going to give you the gauge, and this is based on a 4x4 inch gauge, the abbreviations for each pattern. Now I'm going to stop right here and tell you something about each Graphgan pattern. Each of my Graphgan patterns are single crochet unless otherwise indicated. So what do you need to know? What stitches do I need to know how to do one of your graphs, Janet? Well, let me tell you what. It's very basic. You need to know how to do a chain stitch. You need to know how to do a single crochet. And sometimes if we're adding on a border, you need to know how to do a slip stitch. Ooh, tough, right? Not at all. Those are the only 3 things that you need to know how to do one of my Graphgans. The other thing that you need to do is you need to know how to carry yarn. And fear not, I've got a whole video on it. So you're going to know everything that you need so that when you see these Graphgan patterns that I know you're going to love, you are going to be amazed at what you can create once you learn the technique, which is very basic. Carrying yarn is super simple, especially with a single crochet, and you're going to look like a pro. And you're going to love the results because people are just going to want you to make them things after you learn how to do this technique. Okay, all right. And again, I've already covered the fact that there's only those 3 stitches that are here. This is what the row by row instructions look like. All my Graphgans read from right to left. So if you don't want to paste together the graph, if you don't want to look at the graph, if you don't want to go row by row by row, if you're not that kind of a crocheter, no problem. I've got you covered here. You're going to go row by row by row. So that's also included in the written portion of the pattern. Okay, and then the last is just resources. And I always include the resources in all my patterns. That way, if there's something extra that I think that you need, it's on the back of the resources. It also has all my websites, etc., the usual stuff, the social media. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, guys, let's get Graphganning. Happy hooking, and I'll see you soon.